Okay, clear to everyone? In C++, we have a different type of reference variable. So if you define that type of variable, everything will be what? A reference model. Is that clear? Clear to everyone? And the major advantage is that only when you are passing to functions, unnecessarily doing a copy is a cost, which you don't need to do in case of reference model. Is that clear? Clear to everyone? Any doubt in this? Any doubt, any question? Okay. Any doubt or any question? Is that clear? Are you getting it? A bit of it? Okay. Clear? Eh? Infi, all people here? Okay. आज वेरिटासचे काही जण सुट्टीवर दिसतात. का आलेत सगळे? Okay. Okay, fine. So I know that it's heavy rain, so there are chances that usually the observation is you'll find that in any lecture, in any course, you'll find that 5 to 10% people are always absent. So it's in rotation. It's not like that the same crowd will be absent, but 5 to 10% people are always not present for the lecture. And when something like this happens, then that goes to 20 to 30%. But some are very serious, so they will come anyhow. They will sit complete wait, but they will sit. And that seriousness actually is the driving force, and that will change your approach. That will make you better. Okay, so that is good. So it's good that those who all, so almost I think 75% people are present. So that is good thing. Okay, good. That shows your commitment, and then that encourages me to teach more and more better. Is it clear? Clear to everyone? Okay. So we talked about this data model and reference model. So value model, reference model is an important stuff. We talked about one more thing, that Python has a automatic garbage collection, right? And that garbage collection mechanism is based on reference count. The garbage collection mechanism is based on reference count. So what do I mean by reference count? So whenever there is any, when you do a equal to 1000, so when you did a equal to 1000, 1000 will be laid out in memory. A will be referring to that memory, and there will be a reference count associated with it. Okay. Now later you change a equal to 10. So what happens is A will be pointing to a memory where 10 is laid out. So it stops pointing to this, and the reference count drops to 0. Now whenever reference count drops to 0, right, and when Python realizes that it is going out of memory, so it will try to do what? It will walk through the memory area, and it will collect those whose reference count has dropped to what? 0. Whose reference count has dropped to 0, those all memory will be what? Garbage collected, and that will result into creating the space, which will be utilized for performing further. Now this technique has a drawback. This reference count mechanism has a drawback, and Python people already were aware of that, and that's why they have this where they so assume that it's a circular data structure. So if you look at the reference count of this, it will be 2. Why? Because one is referring from here and one is referring from here. So if you look at this, you will find that there are 2 monitors or 2 instances which are looking at it. Now when you change A to something else, so it starts pointing there, and this 2 drops to 1. But actually if you see, there is no one who is able to access this memory area from outside. But has reference count dropped to 0? No. Why? Because it was a circular data structure. So Python has internally, in the garbage collection technique, it performs the cycle detection also. This is a cycle. So it's not just a simple reference count mechanism, but it's a reference count mechanism with a cycle detection. And then it helps it to collect such memories as well. It helps it to collect such memories as well. Okay. And there are different algorithms, like one algorithm is mark and sweep. So if you have heard about it, the mark and sweep algorithm does what? It marks everything as useless. So it will mark every memory as what? Useless. That means what? It has to be garbage collected. That's the first step. In second step, it will explore which all memories are reachable or accessible. So when it comes to know that, it removes the useless mark. So like it will mark everyone as useless. Now when it comes, so first step, it marks everyone useless. In second step, it sees which all thing is accessible. So when you look at it, only this one is accessible. So it will remove the useless mark of this memory. And all other will remain what? Useless. So automatically this will get what? Garbage collected. Okay. So there are many techniques and few of us implement them as our college project also. Though we don't implement, we copy from someone already ready-made. But people do usually this projects. Anybody of you have done that? No one. Okay. That's fine. So this is the additional thing that Python has with garbage collection technique. Yes. Java also handles it. All languages handle it. See, that's why we haven't written it. No. Python has the reference count and cycle detection. Java has a different mechanism. So everyone is free to implement its own memory allocation, deallocation algorithm. Okay. So if Java is following a reference count, it will be having an additional step to detect what cycles. Ashnarate. Naithar mag Java, it wouldn't have been popular. It would have been a Java. So Java. It would have been Gilead. Okay. Is that clear? Clear to everyone? So then we talked about operators, right? We talked about operators. We saw arithmetic, relational, logical, that too in a storyline. So why we need them, how the need arose, and then how we should use them, what are the significance of them. So those who are coming first, those who are attending first lecture, please make sure that you make notes of it, you take from someone. Okay, later I will revise once, probably next week we will take one revision lecture, or we will try to revise whatever has been covered. Okay. So we talked about that, and I think in the last lecture we stopped at bitwise operators, right? Where we had stopped? Membership, identity. Did I explain about bitwise? No. Okay. So we have covered arithmetic. Okay. How many of you have tried creating that tree? Attempted to create the tree? Or didn't got time? You did it? Little bit, okay. So try to do it. It's helpful. It's a revision. So those who are revising, right? For them, it's a good activity. While revising, create a tree, and then the next revision will be just looking at tree. So arithmetic, relational, logical. Then we talked about membership and identity. Now membership and identity is an additional thing added by Python. Membership includes in and not in, and identity is and is not. So they have tried to align to the English, and that's why they have made it in, not in is a valid phrase and is not is a valid phrase. That's why they have made it like that. Okay. What's the importance of identity? It compares the location or addresses, whether both are pointing to same location or not. So when I say A equal to 1000, B equal to 1000, right? And I do A equal B, it's true. Why? Because their values are same. A is also 1000, B is also 1000, right? But when I do A is B, the output is false. Why? Because A and B are not referring to same memory. A and B are not referring to same memory. That means what it tried to compare? It tried to compare ID of A equal ID of B. This was what the equivalent thing is. And they were not same. That's why it gave you what? False. That's about the identity operator. Will it be useful? Yes. Like if you want to check something is instance of something, or if you want to validate whether both are referring to same location or not, or whether they are a different copy. So if you want to validate on that, you will be using this is. And in is a simple one. It just checks whether something is member of something. Like H in hello will return true. H not in hello will return false. Okay. Now it applies on what? It's a containment operator. So it will apply on all the containers. Okay. Like you can do it on list also. You can do it on tuple as well. So it will just check whether that thing is present there or not. Now these all operators that we saw, whether it is plus, minus, or whether it is a logical and, or not, or, right, or it is a relational like greater than, less than, greater equal, less equal, right? These all were operating on your data as a whole. They never operated on bits. They always operated on what? Your data as a whole. When you do A plus B, A is 1000, B is 100. So is it adding only few bits or it is adding all the bits? It's adding all the bits, right? So it is operating on data as a whole. So all these operators that we learn, they operate on data as a whole. They don't apply or they don't operate only on few of the bits. Okay. Now what if you want to play with the bits? You want to change some bits, you want to play with some bits, right? You want to make them off, make them on, right? Or you want to toggle them. You want to toggle few bits, not all. And that's where the bitwise operators come in picture. The name itself is clear to tell what they are. So they apply on what? Bits. They work on what? Bits. You go to network layer, right? You go to any file format, you'll find that bitwise operators are used there. You go to device drivers, you go to network layer. Why I'm telling about network layer? If you have seen RTP header or TCP IP header, you'll find that there is CRC, right? There is a flag, there are bits, right? It's a 7-bit CRC, or if you see the length, the data length is 9 bits. So instead of dividing it into bytes, the packet is divided in bits. Now when you want to extract the information from bits, you will have to use what? Bitwise operators. You will have to use what? Bitwise operators. Okay. So in bitwise operators, right now we'll understand just the importance of them. Then we look at functions, and then when we write program, we'll do the programs. So the first operator in bitwise is bitwise AND. What's the use of bitwise AND? It is used to turn off bit or bits. It is used to turn off bit or bits. Let's try to understand with small example. Let's say I take A equal to 100. Can anyone tell me what is the binary of 100? So 100 is 64, 32 and 4. So I don't need 0, I don't need 2, I need 4, I don't need 8, I don't need 16, I need 32, and then I need 64. And these all are zeros. So this is binary of 100. This is by practice, this is by understanding. You can also learn it. Okay. Any number, right, that we represent can be represented as combination of 2's power. You take any number in the world. It can be represented as combination of 2's power. Okay. Because our system is what? Binary system. And that's why it's possible. So if you take a 32-bit number, if you assume that integer is a 32-bit, that means 4 bytes. So you have actually what? Physical 32 wires on which the information can be sent. Now what information you can send? Either 0 or 1. Okay. So when we consider that, this becomes what? If we assume that it's a 32 wires, this is LSB, and this is MSB. Least significant bit and most significant bit. This MSB, when set to 1, that number is said to be negative. When MSB is 1, the number is negative. Okay, LSB has no significance on that front. When MSB is 1, the number is negative. When MSB is 0, the number is positive. Because when we consider 32-bit number or 4 bytes as an integer, the range of integer becomes minus 2 raised to 31 to 2 raised to 31 minus 1. So 2 raised to 31 on positive side, 2 raised to 31 on negative side. This minus 1 is of 0. So total is how much? 2 raised to 32, because you have how many wires? 32 wires. So you can pass how many informations? Okay. So few might not be getting. Let's say if I have one wire. If I have one wire, what is possible values? 0 or 1. So how many information I am able to send? 2. Let's say if I have 2 wires. So the possibilities are 0, 0, 0, 1, 1, 0, 1, 1. So you see there are now 4 combinations with 2 wires. When I consider 3 wires, now the combinations become 0, 0, so 0, 0, 0, 1, 0, 1, 0, 0, 1, 1, 1, 0, 0, 1, 0, 1, then 1, 1, 0 and 1, 1, 1. So if you count 3, 3, 6 and 2, 8. So you see the combinations are growing exponentially. So when you have 3 wires, it's 8. When you have 2 wires, it's 4. So when you have 4 wires, it will be 16. So it is what? 2 raised to 4. So if I have 32 wires, how much it should be? 2 raised to 32. Now 2 raised to 31 are negative and 2 raised to 31 are positive. Okay, and all numbers, you have to just represent, this is 2 raised to 0th power, this is 2 raised to 1, this is 2 raised to 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. It will go till 2 raised to 31. So this is how the bits are represented. So when you turn on this bit, that means what? It has what? 2 raised to 0. That means what? 2 raised to 0. Anything raised to 0 is 1, not minus 1. Anything raised to 0 is what? 1. So basically 1 is present in that number. Okay. Now here if you see, this is 2 raised to 1. This is 2 raised to 2. Means this is what? 2 raised to 2 is what? 4. 4 into 1. That is 4. Then this is 2 raised to 3. 8. 2 raised to 4 is 16. 2 raised to 5 is 32. So I have 32 with me. Then 2 raised to 6. That is 64. So I have that. So do 64 plus 32 plus 4. 96 plus 4. 100. So my binary is correct. Okay. This is 2 raised to 7. That is 128. Then 256. Then 512. Then 1024. Then 2048. Then 4096. Then 16384. Kantala. 16384. Then 32768. Then 65536. हे तुम्हाला माहिती असतं. Those who have learned on turbo C, right? They know this. By heart केलेली असते. Minus 32767 to 32768 किंवा इथे 8 आणि इथे 32767. Those who have worked on turbo C. Right? This is actually minus 2 raised to 16 to 2 raised to 16 minus 1. पण आपण लक्ष देत नाही. Anyways, okay, it's fine. So is this clear? Are you getting it? Any number. So now what I'm telling, turn off bits will help me if I want to, let's say this bit is on, right? I want to make it off. I want to make it off. Can I do that? Yes. With the help of what? Bitwise operators. So if I want to make it off, so all, assuming that all others are 0, so I will just rewrite it below, so that 0, 0, 1, 0, 0. Now I want to turn it off. So if I make this position by somehow, I take one additional number where this position is 0 and all others are 1. कसं बनवायचं आहे नंतर कळेल. If I can do this, where I have this position as 0 and all others are 1, and I do what? Bitwise AND. What is bitwise AND? It ANDs the respective bits. So 0 and 1 is what? 0. 0 and 1 is 0. 1 and 0, 0. 0 and 1, 0. 0 and 1, 0. 1 and 1, 1. 1 and 1, 1. All others zeros. So if you look at this number and this number, you'll find that this bit has gone off. Are you getting it? How to do this? For one bit or multiple bits, we are going to see. But are you getting the purpose of AND? The purpose of AND is what? To turn off bits or bit. Okay, is that clear? So similarly, what do you think? What must be the purpose of OR? If one is turning off, then other must be doing what? Turning on. The job of OR is to turn it on. Yes, the OR does the turn on. So the second bitwise operator that comes in is OR. The purpose of OR is to turn on bit/bits. So let's assume, let's take again now, we have just off this bit, right? Or take any binary and let's try to derive what it is. Okay. Can anyone tell me immediately what is this? Which number's binary it is? This is 2, this is 1, right? This 2, 4, 8, 16, 32, 64, 128. So 128 plus 2 is 130 plus 64, 164 plus 16 is 80. So 130 plus 80 is 210, 210 plus 8, 218. Your maths should be good. To have logic good, mathematics is important. Or those who are doing programming, right, they will realize that if you had done mathematics well, your programming is good. Or your programming skills, your thinking ability is good. That's why mathematics carries an importance, which is now ignored, but mathematics has an importance. And the best part to learn these things is to sit on some shop where you try to do the calculation. Okay, or do the job at some shop, you will, and don't use calculator, use your brain. So you'll learn it at faster rate. So this is what? 218. Just add this. So I tried to add the closest, which will give me the round 10. So 64 plus 18 is 80. 128 plus 2 is 130. Now 130 plus 80 is 210 plus 8 is 218. Now let's say I want to turn on this bit. Let's say I want to turn on this bit. This bit is corresponding to 32. So my number is actually going to become what now? 250. Okay. So to turn on this bit, I should have another number where that respective position is 1 and all other remaining positions are 0. And if I OR them, see, and persist your information, whatever is there in original number, other than the position which you are changing. Okay. Similarly, you want to persist other information as it is, you want to just change this bit. That's why with OR, when you apply, you should keep that bit as 1 and others as 0. Now just do OR, 0 or 0, 0, 1 or 0, 1, 0 or 0, 0, 1 or 0, 1, 1 or 0, 1, 0 or 1, 1, 1 or 0, 1, 1 or 0, 1, all others are 0. So if you try to see this bit from the original number, you will find that now it is turned on.
Practically, in this scenario,
We will not be turning on or turning off, but we will be trying to extract set of bits. Okay, or add some set of bits. Now while adding, you will use OR. Now I just added one bit. Okay, let's say you have some set of bits which you want to place at this place, at this location. So then you will use OR. So those who play at network layer, right, they use this widely. Or those who play with packetization and depacketization. Or if you have used Wireshark, how many of you have used Wireshark? You must be using, right? Wireshark internally, when you apply some filters, it tries to do this. That's it. This is masking also. Masking, unmasking, the same thing. Are you getting it? Everyone? Are you understanding at least the purpose? I know that you might be thinking की अरे हे बनवायचं कसं, आत्ता विचार करू नका. I am going to tell. Okay, just try to understand the purpose. Okay, so the purpose of OR is what? To turn on. The purpose of AND is what? To turn on. Okay, then comes the next, left shift. Now this is again an interesting thing. So let's say I have a number. Let's assume that I have x is equal to 10. What is binary of 10? So we'll consider the significant 8 bits instead of writing the whole 32 bits. Okay, so the binary of 10 is, yes, 1010. So that 4 and this 4. So we consider 8 significant bits. Okay, now let's say you perform a left shift by 1. So when you do left shift by 1, you will be writing like this, x left shift by 1. Okay, so what happens when you do left shift? Whenever you do left shift, right? Whenever you do left shift, one information is removed from left side and one information gets added from right side. What information gets added from right side is always 0. Okay, so here you will have what now? 0, 0. This is an added 0. Okay, and then 1, 0, 1, and then 0, 0. So just let me check. 3 zeros. So assuming that it's an 8-bit number, so this 0 is gone and 1 0 has gotten. Now can you tell me what is this? 4, 8, 16. 16 plus 4? 20. What is this? 20, right? Just see. 2 raised to 0, no koi. 2 raised to 1, no koi. 2 raised to 2, need it. What is that? 4. 2 raised to 3, don't need. 2 raised to 4, need it. 16 plus 4, what is that? 16 plus 4, 40 ka? 20, right? So this is 20. So when you left shift by 1, you are getting what? 20. When you are doing left shift by 1, you are getting what? 20. Now try to left shift again 10. Try to left shift again 10 by 2. Instead of 1, try to left shift it by 2. That means how many zeros will come in? 2 zeros. And 2 zeros are going to go from this side. Okay. So what happens? 0, 0. Then 0, 1, 0, 1. And 0, 0. Now quickly tell me what is this? This is 2 raised to 0. So just consider that. Those who are telling 80, they are considering this as 2 raised to 1. This 2 raised to 0, 2 raised to 1, 2 raised to 2, 2 raised to 3. I need it. That is 8. Right? 2 raised to 4, 16 I don't need it. 2 raised to 5, 32 I need it. 32 plus 8, 40. So are you seeing some pattern by left shift what is happening? Isn't it something like this? 10 into 2 raised to 1, 10 into 2 raised to 2. If you want to cross check again take x equal to 10 and do it by 3 instead of 2, left shift it by 3. So what is going to happen? 3 zeros, 1, 2, 3, then 0, 1, 0, 1. So how many happened? 4 plus 3 and 1. Now this is what? If you see this, this is 80. Bagana, 2 raised to 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 is 16. 32 no koi. 64 paige. 64 plus 16 is 80. So what is this? 10 into 2 raised to 3. So left shift results into multiplication by 2's power. The implication of left shift is what? Multiplication by 2's power. आठवते का प्रसाद? तुला आठवते का रे? पाणी दे ना पाणी. So left shift results into multiplication by 2's power. you want, you can just try it on your Python prompt also. Just want to check. हे तुम्ही 10 घ्या आणि 10 ला left shift by 1 करा. You will see that it prints 20. Left shifted by 2, it will print 40. Left shifted by 3, it will print 80. You can do it on prompt also if you just want to cross check. And if you want to cross check this also, right, you can do on your Python prompt 218 or 0, 2 raised to 1, 2, 4, 8, 16, 32. On Python prompt, you can OR this and see that it prints 250. शर्माजी कुठे? तुम्ही पण सेम कंपनी? ओके. तोशिबाचा मित्र नाही आलेला. Is this clear? Clear to everyone? Are you getting it? This is 250. If you want to print binary of 250 on Python, it's a bit easy. You can just do bin 250. So it will print B and the significant ones and zeros. It will not print the 32-bit completely, but it will print the significant part. So you might say, sir, तुम्ही हे काढताय, आम्ही डायरेक्टली करतो. Is that clear, Harun? So that's the importance of left shift, okay, where you are adding an additional information from right side and removing from left side, okay. Similarly, the fourth one comes is right shift. The way we have left shift, the next one we have is right shift. Now, what do you think? What must be right shift doing? You just try to apply some brain. Right shift is going to do what? Remove from here and add from here. So when you are removing from here, you are actually doing what? Reducing the number. So it must be what? Division by 2's power. Just try to now take this as binary. So take 80 as x. If you take 80 as x, the binary is. Now here there are two things which I will explain, but just try to understand first on positive side. So when I do left shift by right shift by 1, what happens? 1 0 goes out, so this becomes 0 0 0 1 0 1 0 0. What is this? If you just look at it, it is 40. This is 40. This is nothing but what? X by 2 raised to 1. Similarly, take again x equal to 80. So 0 1 0 1 4 zeros and do right shift by 2. So what is going to happen? 2 zeros are going to go 0 0 1 0 1 0 0 0. Now what is this? If you look at it, it's 20, right? You already have it on board. So there is nothing but x by 2 raised to 2. So when we are performing right shift, it is actually what? Division by 2's power. Now there is only one thing that we need to understand in case of right shift is what happens in case of negative number. In case of negative number, the most significant bit is what? 1. The most significant bit is what? 1. Try to understand this, it's simple. Okay. For example, let's take x equal to 5. So when I take 5 and considering 8 bit as the significant thing, so this is my 5. What will be my minus 5? If I take y equal to minus 5, the binary of minus 5 will be 2's complement of positive 5. Notice 2's complement, 1's complement plus 1 is 2's complement. So do 1's complement of this. What is 1's complement? Wherever is 1, make it 0. Wherever is 0, make it 1. And then do what? Plus 1 to it. So this is actually minus 5. बरेच जण minus 5 चा बायनरी वरच लिहितात आणि फक्त ही साइन चेंज करतात MSB, because we are not aware that it is actually stored in what? 2's complement method. Okay, so it is stored in what? 2's complement method. So this is minus 5. Okay, now when we are performing right shift, right? So if you perform right shift by 1, if you put in 0, the most significant bit is going to be what? It's going to be 0, and number is turning to what? Positive. Are you getting it? Are you understanding? The number is going to turn to what? Positive. And is this valid? No. The sign should be preserved, because then this number becomes very big. If you take this as 0, now it's a positive number. So this is 1, 4, 8, 16, 32, 64. Add all of them. That becomes the number. Whereas you have minus 5, so ideally it should have been what? Minus 2 or minus 3. Because you are dividing it by what? 2. When you do the right shift. That's why in case of right shift, there are 2 possibilities. Either 0 will come in or 1 will come in, depending on sign bit. Depending on sign bit, either 0 will come in or 1 will come in. When 0 comes in, this was the scenario. When 0 comes in, it is known as logical right shift. When 0 comes in, it is known as logical right shift. And when sign bit comes in, that is when 1 comes in, it is known as arithmetic right shift. It is known as what? Arithmetic right shift. If you see, this is actually 2, minus 2. This is minus 2. How I could make it out? Take 2's complement again. So if you take 2's complement, all are going to be 0 except this. So this will be 1, all 0. Add 1 to it. So this 2 become 1. Now 2 ones on LSB side is what? 2. Not 2, not 3. It's 3, sorry. There will be minus 3. जेव्हा negative number असेल, when the number is negative, the right shift is always arithmetic right shift. That means who comes in? Sign bit. What is sign bit in case of negative number? 1. So when the number is negative and you are performing right shift, it will result into adding sign bit from right side. And what is sign bit in case of negative number? 1. So what will come in? 1. What will come in? 1. Okay. See, when you consider from right side, there are 2 possibilities to come in. What are 2 possibilities? Either 0 can come in or 1 can come in. Okay. Now this depends, or how the system decides whether to put in 0 or whether to put in 1? It decides on your sign bit. Not a sign bit, the most significant bit in a number is a sign bit. If that is set to 1, the number is negative. If that is set to 0, the number is positive. Okay. Now when you are doing right shift on positive number, you want the number to remain positive, or you want to turn it out to negative. You want to make it remain what? Positive. That's why when I took x equal to 80 and I performed the right shift, I got what? 40. Okay. This will go until what? 0. After 0 there is nothing. Right. So if I keep on performing right shift on 0, 0 divided by 2 is what? 0. Right. So when you are performing a right shift on a positive number, the sign bit should always come in, that is 0. So always who should come in? 0. So you preserve what? The sign bit. Sign bit 0 तर कोण आतमध्ये आलं? 0. And that is known as what? Logical right shift. Okay. Now if number is negative. If number is negative. In case of negative number, the sign bit is what? 1. The most significant bit is what? 1. Now as the most significant bit is 1 and you perform the right shift, now the system thinks whether to put 0 in or 1 in. If it puts 0 in, right, it is not preserving the sign and number is turning to the positive, which is not correct. If the number is negative, right, the sign bit should be preserved. So in case of negative number, it will add 1 from left side. Right shift is adding from left side and removing from right side. So it will add what? 1 from left side. And that is known as what? Arithmetic right shift. When we are thinking of left shift, right, it's always 0 because LHB has no significance in terms of sign. So always who gets in? 0. So it's always what? Logical left shift. So that's why that logical word is not applied to left shift. Are you getting it? Samajhta hai? Is that clear? Clear to everyone? In case of right shift, you will be doing it on 2 types of number, positive number and negative number. So when you do it on positive number, you want the result should be also what? Positive. And when you are doing it on negative number, you want the sign bit to be preserved. That means the result should be what? Negative. So the result to remain negative, in case of negative number on right shift, 1 should come in. So if 1 is coming in, it is known as what? Arithmetic right shift. If 0 is coming in, it is known as what? Logical right shift. Java has an explicit logical right shift operator. कोणी बघितलंय का? Anybody aware of it? Anybody done work on Java or learned Java? College मध्ये तर नक्की शिकला असाल. Right? So have you seen this? In Java you have this. आहे का? हाँ. So we have that in Java, but there is no separate operator in any other language. Java has it, where you are basically explicitly performing what? Logical right shift. You are explicitly performing what? Logical right shift. Is this clear? Clear to everyone? Any doubt on this? Positive number असेल तर 0. Perfect. 0. लेफ्ट शिफ्टच्या वेळेला साइनचा काही संबंधच येत नाही ना, त्यामुळे तिथे त्याला काही साइन बिटची घेणं देणं नाही. Are you getting it? See, -5 when you do a right shift, it should give what? -3. It should give what? -3. Now if 0 comes in, it will be some big number. If 0 comes in, it will be this number. Now what is this? 1 plus 4, 5, 5 plus 8, 13, 13 plus 16, 29 plus 32, 61 plus 64, 125. आपण काहीच करायचं नाहीये, सिस्टम ऑटोमॅटिकली डज इट. आपल्याला एक्सप्लिसिटली इथे काही करायचं नाहीये. देयर आर 2 behaviors that I am explaining you. when we think, we don't have to do anything. If you give negative number and you do a right shift, it will automatically perform arithmetic right shift. It will automatically perform what? Arithmetic right shift. To be positive number dila and you do a right shift, it will automatically perform what? Logical right shift. You don't have to worry. In Java, there is an explicit operator for performing logical right shift. And I just explained you that in why they took two solutions and why not one solution. In case of left shift, the way they inserted 0, why they didn't insert 0 only in case of right shift. So we just try to understand the problem that can occur if you just keep on doing what? Logical right shift. Because you are not going to preserve what? Sign bit. समजतंय का? तुम्हाला काही करायचं नाहीये. You don't have to do anything. You perform a right shift on negative number, it's arithmetic. You perform on positive number, it's logical. Clear? Clear to everyone? Is that clear? Yes. Added 1. So this is for -5. Negative numbers are internally stored in 2's complement form. 2's complement of whom? Positive number. So J positive representation hai, you have to perform a 2's complement on it, and that is how the negative numbers are represented. So if you try to print binary of negative number, right, you should get this. Okay, don't use the bin function of Python because it might not give the expected binary. Okay. So तो 101 दाखवेल आणि minus sign दाखवेल, and then you will say that it is showing actually 101. It's not that true. At the raw level, when we go in memory representation, it's going to be this. Is that clear? Clear to everyone? लेफ्ट शिफ्ट जर का केलं, जर का हा आता लेफ्ट शिफ्ट आणि राईट शिफ्ट यू कॅनॉट डू विथ निगेटिव्ह व्हॅल्यू. फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल, इफ यू गिव्ह निगेटिव्ह व्हॅल्यू देर इज नो इम्प्लिकेशन ऑफ इट. म्हणजे -5 लेफ्ट शिफ्ट -4, नो, इट विल नॉट वर्क. Okay, so if you do -5 left shift 4, we already know, right? -5 left shift 4 is nothing but into 2 raised to 4. What is 2 raised to 4? 16. 16 5 is 80. So it will print what? -80. Samajhte? Don't try to, yeah, you will think of that what if negative number is given, but left shift and right shift do not take negative number as an argument. So they don't have any effect on your result. Is that clear? Clear to everyone? Okay. So that is about right shift. In right shift we have two types, arithmetic and logical. When sign bit comes, so when 1 comes in, it is arithmetic. When 0 comes in, it is logical. And system automatically takes care of that, so we don't have to worry. Okay. नाहीतर मग प्रश्न पडेल सर आम्हाला जर का एक्सप्लिसिटली करायचे तर that question will be there. But we don't have to do explicitly. We don't have to enforce anything on system. System automatically does it. Now sometimes we have a requirement where we want to toggle bit or bits. What is toggling? The one which is 0, make it 1, and the one which is 1, make it what? 0. That is known as what? Toggling or XOR. Okay, so this operator is used for caret sign, is used for performing what? Bitwise XOR. So let's assume this is the binary, and let's say I want to toggle these 3 bits. I want to toggle these 3 bits. Okay, now if you recall the XOR truth table, if the values are same, the result is 0. Okay, so I will take what is, I will try to create a number where those respective 3 bits are what? 1, and all others are 0, and then I will XOR them. 0 XOR 0, 0, 0 XOR 0, 0, 1 XOR 1, 0, 0 XOR 1, 1, 1 XOR 1, 0, 1 XOR 0 is 1, 0, 1, 1, 0. So if you try to see these 3 bits, you try to see these 3 bits, you'll realize that the bits are toggled. इसमें ये जो 2 1 थे वो नीचे जाके 0 हो गए, जो 0 था वो 1 हो गया. So what has happened? Toggling. What is this? Toggling. काय झालं? You can ask me. Yes, something in mind. 0 0 is 0. The truth table of XOR is PQ.
This is the exact number. How it was like the first one is the actual number. Second you are.
That is what we will be learning. So don't try to right now think on how I will be creating this. I'm going to explain. That we will do when we do the programs. Okay. And we are going to do the program. So we are going to write a function which actually toggle bit or bits. So we'll pass a number to it. We'll pass the position from which you want to toggle and the number of bits that you want to toggle. And in return you will get the decimal number which has those respective bits what toggled. So we are going to do that for all functions. So don't worry. So with respect of XOR, you need to always think from this. Think from this. So if you see this one, 0 1 and this is 1 1. So keeping this as constant and this is 0 or 1. So when you do Q XOR P, you are getting 1. So Q was 0, but the result is what? 1. When Q was 1 and P was also 1, the result is what? 0. So this has remained what? Constant. Depending on this, the toggling happens. If your information is 0 and you XOR with 1, you will get 1. So your 0 is toggled to 1. If your information is 1 and you XOR with 1, you get 0. That means your 1 is toggled to 0. Are you getting it? Are you understanding it?
Sorry with the result.
Yes. We have to see what happens is this one. You take those which you want to toggle, those positions should be 1. Those positions should be 1. Those number of bits should be what? 1. So you have here 1, but after XOR you have here 0. Here it was 0, after XOR here it is 1. So if you look from this perspective and this one, that's why I have underlined that. You'll see that this 1 has become 0, 0 has become 1. That's nothing but what? Toggle. 0 चा 1 होना आणि 1 चा 0 होना is what? Toggling. Are you getting it? Everyone? Is that clear? So that's the 5th one, and the last one is complement. And there is a considerable difference between the logical NOT and bitwise NOT. This is a bitwise NOT. So in terms, this is a bitwise NOT. Whatever is 0, make it 1. Whatever is 1, make it 0. Whatever is 0, make it 1. And whatever is 1, make it what? 0. So if I have this, let's say this is my binary. And I apply complement on this. So what will happen? 1 0 1 0 1 0 1 0 1. So whoever is 0 becomes 1, whoever is 1 becomes 0. So is that clear? Is all different classes of operators clear? Yeah. 1010 केल्यावरती ते मायनस मध्ये येणार. See, do tilde of 5. because tilde of 5 gave this. Okay, and now try to realize what is this. So if you take 2's complement of this, you will realize that it is 6. Because what will happen when you take 2's complement? 1, 1. All others 0 plus 1. So 1 plus 1 will be 0 with 1 carry. So it's a don't 1 nil. So output will be what? 0, 1, 1, 0, and this is 6. He is trying to just apply complement on some bigger number he applied. He applied on 1, 0, 1, 0, and then he said that some big number is coming as output. Yes. And some big number on negative side will come as output. Why? Because when you complement on positive number, your MSB is 0. By complementing, you are making it 1. Are you getting it? Do complement of minus 5. So if you do complement of minus 5, are you understanding? So complement will do what? Bit inversion. Whatever is 0, make it 1. Whatever is 1, make it 0. Now these all operations, right? Many must have question. Why to learn this? Because in college days we ignore this. In college days, माझ्यामध्ये तर 10 मिनिटातच शिक्षक सांगून टाकतात. In max 10 minutes they take and they will tell you that these are the bitwise operators. That's it. Assignments you will do a copy paste. Somebody does it, you just do a print on that and you attach it to your file. That's it. But these operators, they help you to build your logic. They help you to trigger your thinking. And these operators are very helpful if you are going to work at network layer or at a protocol layer, or when you are defining your own protocol, you will use them. Because you don't want to make everyone understand what you are actually sending. So just try to imagine if you have a 32-bit, right? And in 32-bit you are sending 4 informations. Right? Because you are able to send it. Why? Because you are performing shift operation, and by that you are accommodating 4 information in a 32-bit representation. Now when you are printing, you will be printing the whole 32-bit as 1. However, how the intruder will come to know that this 32-bit contains 4 information or 3 information or single information? Okay, that's why they are widely used at security level. Everywhere you will find that bitwise are widely used. We all work at an application layer or at a layer where it's very specific to end user. That's why we don't realize the significance of this. Okay, so we are going to do the functions. We will be doing that later on this. Is that clear? Clear to everyone? Okay. So these are the different classes of operators that are there, which we will be using while writing the programs. Now after learning the operators, the next thing that is important to understand is the control flow statement. Now we are going to start writing programs. So while writing programs, we will be writing as a series of statements. So we will be writing like so. The important point or the important advantage of Python is you can do multi-way assignment in Python. You can do what? Multi-way assignment in Python. What I mean by that is you can do a comma b is equal to 10 comma 5. And you will understand that this 10 goes to a, 5 goes to b. It is not there in any other language. The multi-way assignment. Now the advantage of this is what? While accepting more than one number, you can accept it using input function and you can directly assign to 2 variables. So let's say if I want to write a function to add 2 numbers, so I will do what? Number 1 comma number 2 equal to input, enter 2 numbers, and let's say instead of adding we want to subtract them. So then we print what? Print number 1 minus number 2 is, or instead of this %d minus percent D is percent D. Okay, so try to understand the syntax. Percent D is a format specifier for integers. Okay, and then you have to give like this. The Python has this syntax. So you'll write here number 1, comma number 2, comma number 1 minus number 2, and then the print bracket ends. So instead of comma separated list, you have to give what? Percent and then the comma separated list. You have to give percent and then the comma separated list, or it's a tuple. This number 1 maps to this percent D, this number 2 maps to this percent D, and this number 1 minus number 2 will map to this percent D. And while entering two numbers, enter with comma. Just do it now only. परसेंट साइन, जैसे हम सी में यहाँ पे कॉमा देते हैं ना, उसकी जगह पे यहाँ पे परसेंट देना है बस. और सी में देन वी डोंट गिव इट एज अ लिस्ट और अ टपल, यहाँ पे यू हैव टू गिव इट एज अ टपल. सो टपल इज क्रिएटेड विद दिस ब्रैकेट. If you have only single information, no need to give bracket. But when you have multiple information, you have to surround it in a bracket. Input function will return you the respective type of data, whatever you enter. If you enter in double quotes, it will be string. If you enter normal integers, it will be integers. You can do it on prompt, or you can do it in script. Anything is fine. Better to do in script because we want to extend this program and understand the control flow statements. That's why it's better if you do it in some script. What happened? See, this is the simple thing. A comma B, enter two numbers. So on prompt I have done it, but I want you to do it in a script. So I have entered 1 comma 2 and then I wrote this statement, print percent D minus percent D is percent D with percent A comma B comma A minus B. So you see that it is printing 1 minus 2 is minus 1. Simple one and the straightforward one. Nothing difficult in it. कॉमा देना इनपुट देते समय, जैसे यहाँ पे कॉमा है ना सेपरेटर. सो व्हेन यू आर एंटरिंग, you enter 10 comma 20. While entering, enter 10 comma 20. So it will automatically 10 will map to NO1, 20 will map to NO2. Hold on. Yeah, on 3.6 you might have to apply eval. Just a minute. Let me just. So do what is put eval. It must be giving an error that too many values to unpack, right? So try to put eval on it. this is what you should do. Because the input function in 3.x is replica of raw input of 2.7, and 2.7 raw input is deprecated. That's why on 3.x, when you are using input function, you should put eval before, so that it evaluates your arguments to respective types. It evaluates your arguments to respective type. So eval input, it's simple. It's like this. My on 3.x, what you will do is number 1 comma number 2 is equal to eval. It's a function call. That's it. So this eval input is same as input of 2.7. Eval input on 3.x is same as input of 2.7. You should ideally use for all on 3.x. Otherwise, it might evaluate to just a stream of bytes. And then when you try to perform some operations, it might give you an error that it is a string and you are trying to perform an operation which is not a string operation. कर सकते हैं, बट फिर ये प्रॉब्लम होगा ना, पास तो कुछ भी करो तुम, वही तो मैजिक है पाइथन का. That's the Python ability. और दो नहीं, you can return n number of arguments from a function. Now that is the feature that Python gives us. You will not see in any other language where you are returning multiple values from a function as a direct return value. Here we are directly returning the output of input is direct two return values which are going to number 1 and number 2. Now here if you have 5 numbers, then also it will work provided you are providing what? 5 numbers. So they become what? A direct return value. So in a return statement, those who have done programming, you never have written more than one variable. But whereas in Python you can return. In C, if you do this, it results into comma operator evaluation and last value is returned. Whereas in Python, all the 4 values will be returned. Comma. दूसरा guy separator is not a valid separator. So when it tries to tokenize, right, it will not be able to tokenize it. Yes. So that's where the grammar comes into picture. That's where the syntax analysis comes into picture. So if you realize now those steps, so it tried to tokenize. So when it tried to tokenize, it tokenizes based on the separators. Now you didn't give the valid separator, but so it considers that as a whole single token. And when it tried to evaluate the syntax of that single token, it was not able to evaluate. And that's why it gave you an error. Is that clear? Clear to everyone? Are you getting it? So the first control flow thing is what? Sequence of statements. Whatever program we will write, right? It will be what? Series of statements executing one after another. Right? That is known as what? Sequencing or sequence of statements. So it's series of statements. The next thing that comes in control flow is, now let's say I want to subtract smaller number from bigger number, so that the result is always what? Positive. So that the subtraction result is always what? Positive. Right? So I need to do what? I need to compare, right? I need to do what? I need to compare number 1 and number 2. If the one which is bigger, from that I will subtract the smaller one. For that I need to do what? A comparison. and then the comparison results into the next control flow statement, that is selection. And what comes in selection is if else. What comes in selection is if else. And that's why I had asked you to write this in a program or a script so that we can increment that script to understand the concept. So now what you will do, you will still accept number 1, number 2. So that line still remains the same. Number 1 comma number 2 is equal to input, enter 2 numbers. If number 1 greater than number 2. So what I will do is now I will have an additional variable. Result is equal to 0. And what I will do, if number 1 greater than number 2, colon, next line 4 spaces n, result is equal to number 1 minus number 2, else, result is equal to number 2 minus number 1. And then I can print result is equal to %d, comma, not comma, % result. This is the syntax of if else. This is how you write if. If in Python, the if should contain always what? A condition. So if I want to write the syntax, it is if condition. If this condition evaluates to true, whatever I want to do, right? Statements to be executed when true, else, colon. So here we will write statements to be executed when false. Here in Python, T of true is capital, F of false is capital. So this is the syntax. If condition, it's not expression. Because in C we write if A plus B or A star B, right? That is not valid in Python. It must be always what? A condition. You cannot write an expression. What is a condition? Condition is a expression which results into true or false. Condition is an expression which results into true or false. Eval ला it's by default input जेव्हा तू देतो ना input म्हणजे 3.x वरती तर तो input जे घेतो ते स्ट्रीम ऑफ बाइट्स असते. इवल मुळे तर तो स्ट्रिंग ला कन्वर्ट करतो रिस्पेक्टिव्ह टाइपला. हा नॉर्मल एक्झिक्यूट करताना एरर येणारच ना. यूज इट इन कारण तो इव्हॅल्युएट करतो रे. इट इव्हॅल्युएट्स टू रिस्पेक्टिव्ह टाइप म्हणून त्याला स्ट्रीम ऑफ बाइट्स पाहिजे. इनपुट देताना तू डबल कोट द्यायची गरज आहे ना. इनपुट जो आहे बाय डिफॉल्ट 3.x चा जो इनपुट आहे तो घेतानाच स्ट्रीम ऑफ बाइट्स घेतो. त्यामुळे तू इव्हॅल दिलं की तो लावतो बरोबर 50,20. Are you doing it? Everyone doing it on machine? मशीन कुठे आहे? तुमचं नाही, तुझं नाही, तुझ्या पुढे. येस येस, तुलाच विचारतोय. का रे? लॅपटॉप बर, पावसामुळे घेऊन नाही आला. मोबाईलवर कर. मोबाईलवर आहे ना क्यू पायथॉन का विंडोज पण आहे? म्हणजे दुष्काळात 13वा महिना. There is no semicolon in Python. If you write semicolon, it will not give you an error, but it will be treated as a bad practice. There is no end of statement. हाँ, वो स्मार्ट है उतना. वो समझ है, तू नेक्स्ट लाइन पे गया, बैकस्टेशन दिया, इसका मतलब नया लाइन चालू हो गया. समझ रहे क्या? देख, we gave a new line, right? Here you gave a new line. इसके बाद कुछ लिखा है क्या? नहीं, इसके बाद डायरेक्टली ये एल्स चालू हो रहा है, तो उसको समझ आता है कि ऊपर का लाइन खत्म हो गया. स्लॅश द्यायचा ना, बॅकवर्ड स्लॅश. तुझं काय आहे? 2.7 आहे का काय? परत रन करू थांब. अरे परत रन करायला जायचं कसं? नाही ते झालं, पण परत मला त्या फाईलला जायचंय. हा ओके, प्ले म्हटलं मी. चल, त्याला स्ट्रिंग पाहिजे म्हणतो ना, डबल कोट्स मध्ये देऊ आपण. बर, झालं. See, if somebody is facing a problem where he was facing on a problem on a mobile that it was telling that eval takes argument as string. So he wanted to input two numbers. So when it says that it expects argument as string, give those two numbers in comma separated values with double quotes. Is that clear? Clear to everyone? So if you try to understand this, if else is what? Selection statement. It helps you to perform what? Select something. Okay. And if it's selected, then you will not execute else. So at a time, one of the condition is going to be true. Then the next question comes in is, can we write multiple if else? And can we write nested if else? What do you think? Can we write nested if else? We should be able to write, right? Nested if else. Okay. Now just tell me what will be the output of this. So I hope this you have done it, right? This also you have done it. Okay. So this you must have noted it down. Tell me what will be the output of this, considering this as a C code. So what will be the answer with this values? Then what will be the answer with this values? And what will be the answer when we have this? So there are going to be 3 data sets. You have to tell me what will be the answer. Considering this as 1, this as 2, this as 3. And considering it as a C code. C code or Java code or C++ code or .NET code. Okay, for this one you are telling it's a catch. Okay. Okay. For second one, so this is for first one. Second one, okay, we'll have multiple options. First, let one complete. So it's catch. It's a catch. Those who have said for them, what's the answer of second one? Okay, hello and bye. And what about third one? Now first let's complete this set. Then we'll go to another set. Okay, let me write it's a catch. Now tell me other answer. Whatever is your thought. First one, it's a catch. Okay. Second, again it's a catch. Hello. Okay. Hello. And third one. For third set, bye. सगळे include करून टाका एकदा. Bye. Okay. Fine. How many of you think this else is of this if? जरा मोठ्या हात वर करा. That's a catch. That's a catch. This else is of this if, not of this if. कसं काय? That's the language. See, hold on. So C is a lexically scoped language. C is a lexically scoped language. Okay, so whenever you have like if else statement, the else will try to associate itself with closest if. The else will try to associate with closest if. Now tell me which is closest if. And another thing that you missed that I will tell you. So closest if is this one. Okay. If you are writing a if without a bracket, right, it includes only one statement. That is basic thing that everyone is aware. And you missed on that also. If I have written like this one statement, it's done. Now nothing is there inside this if. So automatically who remains? This pair. This if is not inside this if. Samajhte? Are you seeing the ambiguity? Why that ambiguity came? Because I wrote else in the same column of if. Python overcomes this ambiguity. Python doesn't have this ambiguity. If you have written else in the column of if, this else is of this if. Period. If you want this else to be part of this if, you should write in the same column of that I. So had it been a Python code, your answer would have been correct. Now think, so let's see. A is 10, B is 20. So A greater than B is false. Nothing to do. A is 10, C is 30. So A greater than C is false. So you get a print, it's a catch. So first print is, it's a catch. Second, C is 30, A is 50, B is 10. 50 greater than 10. The condition is true. It prints hello. It prints what? Hello. Then it goes to this condition, A greater than C. That is also true. So it prints what? Hello, bye. It prints what? Hello, bye. And then third one. C is 5, A is 10. So, and B is 20. 10 greater than 20 is false. Okay. And then we come to A greater than C. 10 greater than C. 10 greater than 5 is true. So it prints by, not it's a catch. Are you getting it? Now if I had to write this in Python, I would have changed this to this one. So this would have got changed to if A greater than B, print hello. If I want to translate that code exactly over here, if A greater than C, print by, else print it's a catch. Now this is the exact translation of C code to Python. Now you see, do you see any ambiguity? Now put input A greater than B, 10 greater than 20 आएगा? नहीं, go down because they are in same column, they are not nested, so they are in same column. So A greater than C, 10 greater than C, no. So you go in else, you print what? It's a catch. Go with second input. Plug in C. 50 greater than 10, yes, so it prints what? Hello. Then go to below it because it's not nested. You have to evaluate it. So A greater than C, 50 greater than 30, yes, so it prints what? By. Then go to this one. C equal to 5, A 10, B 20. 10 greater than 20, no. Go to next one, A greater than C, 10 greater than 5, yes, so it prints what? By. Now you don't see any ambiguity. So Python, by putting the restrictions of syntax, of how to write the code, how to have the code in block scope instead of lexical scope, it makes us understand code better. It reduces the ambiguity. Are you getting it? This is ambiguous code. That's why there were multiple answers. Whereas here, if you are giving multiple answers, then there is a problem in your understanding. Okay, here answer will be always the one that is the right one, because there is no ambiguity. Are you getting it? Understanding it? Everyone? Now in C, you would have solved ambiguity by doing this. So by giving this bracket, you make this else of this if. Because now lexically closer if to this else is this one, not this one. Because this one is inside. So the lexical scope of this is inside, not the outside. Are you getting it? Everyone? It's simple. It's just that you need to understand the scoping rules of Python. So you will realize that how advantageous it is to have these block scopes like this, where you start a block with colon and whatever you want in that block, you write 4 spaces in. You write 4 spaces in. And when you want to stop that block, write in the same column of the previous block. So if you write in the same column, it's done. So when you look at this code, you will see that the colon is the opening of the scope. And whatever you are writing inside this if, you will write 4 spaces inside. Now when you want to stop that block, you will again come 4 spaces back and write in the same column of that if. So this block is stopped. And this is a new block again. If you are putting a block or if you are just putting a statement, they will execute.
When we have to modify the code, let's say, I want to add this particular envelope into some other envelope that will be coming.
So you want to put an string.
What I'm trying to come to then the modification of the code becomes difficult because you have to syntaxically align it again.
Yes. So see, there are advantages and there are disadvantages. So what he is telling is that let's say now this is fine. So this makes it easier. But now let's say if I want to surround this whole thing in one if. Now as you had already aligned it to the first column, or let's say if you have written it in a function, you have already aligned it in the fourth column. Now as you want to add one more if, you will have to realign everything and put 4 spaces ahead. That functionality you can use of editor. Control A tab. Right, and set tab stop to 4, tab width equal, tab space, tab expand tab to true. Are you getting it? Everyone, at least it reduces the ambiguity. Though it is tedious to write, because if you give here 1 space extra, you will get an error. And then you will say, or you will not realize, you might get frustrated. Because solving space error is the most frustrating activity. If there is some logical error, your brain at least has some thinking going on. But when it is a space error, when it's a syntax error, you don't like it. Why? Because it's a syntax error. It doesn't need a brain to solve it. Is that clear? Are you getting it? So we can have, if I wanted to have elif, means instead of if, after that else if, and then else. So I can write, instead of if, I can write elif. So else if is reduced to elif. Else if is reduced to elif. So now what happens with the help of elif? If this is false, then only it will go to this. And if this is false, then only it will go to else. If one of them is satisfied, right, whatever written below are always ignored. That's the selection statement. If one of them is satisfied, if A greater than B satisfies, now as you have written elif, will this execute? No. Will this ever be checked? No. So it's like if today is Sunday, okay, and then you have elif if Monday, elif Saturday, elif something else, right? So you see, if it's Monday, you are doing some different activity. If it's Saturday, you are doing some different activity. Now what you do on Saturday, you are not doing it on Monday. Right? So you see, it's a mutual exclusive selection. That happens. If one is selected, others will not be ever checked also. If the condition, if today is Saturday, is satisfied, will you go and check, ki nahi nahi, aaj Ravivar pane ka, aaj Somvar pane ka? No, you will not do that. Why? Because today's Saturday is already satisfied. That's the selection. You select one of them. Regarding it, everyone in campus, if you get 4 offers, you will not be able to go all the 4 companies. So you select one of them. What is that? Selection. Is that clear? Or while switching job, you have 4 offers. Then you at least have some condition, right? The one who is paying more, at least that will have the priority. Are you getting it? It's again end up to what? Selection. And when you select one, others are automatically what? Unselected. You don't have to explicitly unselect them. And similarly, this else, if nothing is selected, else is going to be always selected. So else is like an unconditionally true statement. Do you check anything for else? Do we perform any check for else? But if nothing of the above satisfies, else gets executed. So else is like an unconditionally true statement. Are you getting it? Everyone? Are you understanding? So we can have nested if else also. Nested if else will be something like this. If, so that condition, and then what, if I want to have some more condition, I will write that if inside. If I want to have an else to this, I will write in this same column. Okay. And if I want to have, let's say, elif for the outside one, I will write it in the same column. So this will be like this. The structure will be indented structure. The most important advantage of learning Python is you learn indentation. You just recall what C programs you did. You all wrote it in the same column. सगळे एका लाईनीत एकच मेन म्हणजे फर्स्ट राईट अलाइंड कॉलमलाच किंवा लेफ्ट अलाइंड कॉलमलाच सगळं सुरू करतो. इफ असू दे, फॉर असू दे, काही असू दे, सगळं एकच. इथे तुम्ही तसं करा. The compiler will come out and say, sorry, this is not going to work. So at least this makes you a disciplined programmer, at least on the front of indentation. Is it clear? And you say, I don't like it, Python will say, don't work it. Never come. काही फरक पडत नाही Pythonला. Is that clear? Clear to everyone? So is nested if else clear? So we can have this structure also. We can have if elif structure also. Is that clear? Clear to everyone? We don't have switch case in Python. There is no switch case in Python. There is no switch case in Python because Python says that if else can be optimized to perform the same as switch case, why to have switch case separately? Are you getting it, everyone? So is if else clear? Is if else clear? Any doubt in if else? So your homework. Write a program to accept three numbers. Write a program to accept three numbers. And display maximum out of them. And display maximum out of them. म्हणजे मॅक्सिमम नंबर काढायचे रे 3 नंबर मधला. Simple program. It should be optimized. Those who already know programming. Okay. So it should be optimized. Think from how you think, then only write that code. So just think with your brain, you will realize that what I mean by optimization. Okay. Then similarly you should do for minimum of 3 numbers. Minimum of 3 numbers. And let's do one program now. Write a program. To accept DDMMYY from user. To accept DDMMYY from user. So you are accepting date and check if it is valid or not. And check if it is valid or not. If it is valid, print the valid date. If it is invalid, print the message that you entered invalid date. Now here, while performing validation, there are few things which we will ignore right now, like checking of February separately. Right now we can ignore. Okay. Then checking of leap years. So because February will have 29 and 28, that's what we can ignore for timing. Other checks we can have like DD should not be greater than 31 and should not be less than 1. MM should not be greater than 12, not less than 1. YY can be right now anything. Just make sure that it's not negative. Kara. Yeah. You have to do it now. Abhi karna hai. Write a Python script to do this now. लैपटॉप किधर है? अच्छा उसको करने दे रहा है क्या? हाँ उस ओके बर 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 इको कुठे आत्ता नको आत्ता वापरायला गेलं तर अवघड असेल आत्ता सिंपल वापरा रेगिक्स वापरायची तशी ते आणि गरज पण नाही उगाच कशाला कॉम्प्लेक्स करायचं सिंपल जर का ग्रेटर दॅन आणि लेस दॅन प्रॉब्लेम सॉल्व्ह होतोय तर रेगिक्सला कशाला जायचं मला कुठे पॅटर्न मॅच करायचंय का आयुष्य सोपं करायचं प्रोग्राम जितका सोपा तेवढं चांगलं You can write down first in book. That is also fine. So in the meantime, I will take attendance so that that time is saved. Vishwanathan is there. Roshan is there. Poonam झाली नाही रे? Okay. Gauri is there. Bhagyashree is there. Trupti is there. Pankaj. Yes. Vivek is there. Pankaj Thakur is there. Nilesh आला नाहीये. निलेश नाही आला ना आज? कुठे गेलाय? हो बर बर. Rishi is not there. Then Zahir Khan is also not there. Mitali, yeah. Pooja, Pallavi Patil, yes. Mukesh Singh, Kuldeep, Shahrukh is absent today. Krishna is also absent today. Amay, तुझं त्याच दिवशी ट्रान्सफर झाले होते ना रे संध्याकाळी हां सकाळी हां ओके संडेला कारण ऍक्च्युली संडेच्या दोघा तिघांचे माझ्याकडनं मिस झालेत पण ठीक आहे संतोष कुमार येस तू पण केलेले स्वप्नील अग्निहोत्री येस हितेश आय थिंक आय हॅव रिसिव्ड युअर्स ऑल्सो नीरज हां तू ट्रान्सफर केले का नीरज ओके हां ठीक आहे थांब Yes. Nikhil, मृत्युंजय, you मेल केलाय तू थांब एक मिनिट मला चेक करू दे फक्त Yes. Yours is also received. Aditya, he is absent today. Vijay Sawant is present. Manish is present. Monica, she is absent today. Yeah. Anupam, you will. Okay. Okay. Okay, fine. Rohit. Okay. Umesh Sutar, तुझे राहिले हां ओके. योगेश लेले आला नाही आज, त्याला आता लिलेंना जरा जागा करायला लागणार आहे. शिवम बाळके फ्रॉम एमडॉक्स. Okay. Shivam is absent. Vikram is also absent. Dharma is present. Pawan is present. Prasad is present. Deepesh is not there. Junaid is there. Okay. पंकज तू पण करशील हा ट्रान्सफर. पंकज ठाकूर. हा. Okay. Fine. झालं का? डन. डन. If if DD greater than 0 and then DD less than 31. Okay. If greater than 0 and then less than 13. Okay. जर फ्लॅग 0 असेल तर प्रिंट करतोय का DDMMYY?
हां म्हणजे नाही फ्लॅग 1 असेल तर प्रिंट करायचा, 0 असेल तर
चुकवलं ना चेक. Why? It's simple program. See, what you have to do. Okay, how many of you are able to write it? Syntax error येत आहेत? Okay. ठीक आहे. So I'm writing it on board. Try to just understand. It's a simple code. And actually it is on the similar lines of 3 numbers. See, so I'll write validate date dot py, validate underscore date dot py. So hash not slash user slash bin slash python. This should be by default root. Habit टाकून ठेवा हाताला की स्क्रिप्ट लिहायची की ही लाईन आली पाहिजे. Okay, then there is one more thing that we will put an habit, but that will come later. So we'll accept DD, MM and YY from user. So input, enter date in DD, MM, YY format. Clear? That's the simple message that you will show to user. You will get it in this, and then you have to check. So what is for the validity of DD is what? DD should be, it should be greater than 0 and it should be less than 32. Then only you should go and validate the next part, right? Or you can put and for everything. You can actually put and for everything, but let's say if you want to nest it, you can nest it also. So you check for this, then you check for if greater than 0 and less than 13. So you want that should be also greater than 0 and should be less than 13. So let's just think of the positive case where input is valid. Okay. So then if mm is also valid, then what you will do? You will check for yy, and for yy the check is what? It should be greater than 0. If this is the case, you will be printing what? Print date is valid. So I am now introducing another way of printing dot format dd comma comma yy. So format is a method on string which can be used to perform the formatting, So you have this. So this one bracket, this first curly bracket corresponds to the first one, second one corresponds to second one, third one corresponds to third one. Later we will see the advantage of this. Okay, this is my best case scenario. Now what is the possibility? There is a possibility that yy is invalid, or is invalid, or dd is invalid. So now what I will have to do? I will have to print else you have entered wrong yy. I will put else for I will put that you entered wrong Okay, and I will put here else and print what? You entered wrong dd. This is one approach. Another thing can be this all three conditions can be wrote on single line. Okay, and then you can just put one else and say what? Date is invalid. But here I will realize what is invalid. In that scenario, I will not realize what is invalid. So here I will put else. So when this else will execute, if yy is invalid, so I will just print yy equal to %d is invalid. Similarly, now I will put else for print equal to %d is invalid. And similarly, you will put here else for dd. Print dd equal to %d is invalid. Simple program. That is also fine. If you put everything in one if, right? You take this here, put and, you take this yy, put and then just put one else where you will say the what? Date is invalid. There you will not realize what is invalid in date. But with this, you will realize whether yy was wrong, was wrong, or dd is wrong. Is that clear? Yeah. You are taking it as a string, and are you giving some separator?
No, I'm not using dd is a complete string. Then I use this colon to take first two, then next two, then next two.
Slicing you did. Then you have to typecast to int. When you do a string, okay, so what you will do is, if you accept it as one string, let's say you accept it as a date string, okay, then what you will do is, dd is equal to int of date of 2, and you will close the bracket. But don't do it in this way. Because why? YY will be of 4 or 5. You never know. And when it comes of 1, what you will do? Because date can be 1 also, right? And user enters just 1, then so you have to basically, while entering, you have to make sure that at least 2 digits are entered. Or then you have to think of a separator. So while accepting, you accept date as something like 1:1:1. So then you can split on colon and you can get out the 3 tokens. Okay, right now do this one. Simple one, straightforward one. Is that clear? Clear to everyone? Clear to everyone? Are you able to do it? Is it running? So another homework. You have to write similar thing for time. You have to write similar thing for time. For time, what it will be? Hours, minutes and seconds that you have to validate. You should do the validation of time, whether user has entered a valid time or not. So you will be accepting what? Hours, minutes and seconds. Seconds cannot be above 60, right? Minutes cannot be above 60. Hours cannot be above. Assuming that it's a 12-hour clock, so it will not be above 12. And if it's a 24-hour clock, it will not be above 24. Clear, Rekha? Simple, very simple program. Those who are not bringing laptop, please try to bring them. It will be better. It will help them a lot. Because, see, from here you go home, it's a Saturday, so you are already in a relaxed mode, you want to take rest. And then again starting a laptop after going home is a very difficult task. So it's better if you bring it over here itself, so you will do it. And that will give you a confidence and encouragement to do it after going home. So try to bring that. Is that clear? So we'll meet tomorrow at 9:30.